Okay, picture this. You've been perfectly comfortable with your current Wuthering Waves teams, maybe thinking the meta is starting to settle down, and you have your rotations memorized flawlessly. And then, out of nowhere, the upcoming version 3.4 details drop early all over X, completely flipping how we usually build our teams. If you thought our current supports were crazy, just wait until you see this. We need to talk about what's coming next, because it is going to blow your mind. Today, we are doing a massive, deep dive theory crafting session specifically focused on Lucilla. We are going to break down every single piece of her leaked kit, her combat roles, how she buffs the squad, her absolute unit of a signature weapon, and why she is about to become the ultimate wild card for your account. But real quick, before we dive into the absolute madness of this kit, if you enjoy these deep dive theory crafting sessions and want to stay ahead of the meta, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps out a lot and ensures you won't miss my upcoming videos breaking down Lucy and Becca's kits too. Let's get into it. Hear me out. Kuro Games is introducing a character that basically does the job of two characters at once. Lucilla is an upcoming 5-star character who wields a rectifier and uses the Glacio element. But here is where it gets spicy. She isn't just a standard support, she is a true hybrid. Her overarching identity is built around being a Glacio support, a dedicated echo skill buffer, and a sub DPS all mashed into one incredibly flexible unit. She is designed to significantly raise your team's damage ceiling while simultaneously pumping out her own respectable damage through basic attacks and echo skills. The absolute core of her design philosophy, and what makes her so unique, is her two distinct resonance modes. You literally get to choose how she functions based on what your account needs. Mode 1 is Glacio Chafe Mode. This is tailor-made for dedicated Glacio teams. Mode 2 is Echo Mode. This turns her into a universal battery for any team that relies heavily on echo skill damage. This level of role compression is insane. If you are planning to run her with Hiyuki, you are 100% going to lock her into that first Glacio mode. She is quite literally designed to be Hiyuki's new best friend, but if you want to slot her into a completely different team composition that spams echoes, she just flips a switch and enables that playstyle perfectly. Let's break this down together mechanically. How does she actually play? Her core gameplay loop revolves around an internal resource system called traces. She can hold a maximum of 150 traces at any given time. Just by playing her normally, like using her intro skill, you instantly generate a massive 100 traces. Here is the kicker. Every time you accumulate 50 traces, the game automatically converts them into a photo. She can hold up to a maximum of 3 photos at once. We will talk about how she cashes in these photos when we get to her ultimate, but just keep this economy in the back of your mind. You are constantly building traces to print photos. Okay, this is where her gameplay looks like it's going to be so much fun. Lucilla introduces a brand new mechanic called the focus ring. When you cast her resonance skill, or when you reach the 3rd stage of her basic attack combo, you deploy this focus ring. Deploying this ring immediately triggers an inherent skill that actually slows down time for enemies caught nearby. This triggers a timing event. If you perfectly time your input to achieve perfect focus while using her resonance skill, she unleashes enhanced versions of her attacks. Hitting this perfect timing rewards you with massive damage multipliers, extra resource stacks, an additional stack of her Glacio negative status, and a juicy 20 concerto energy to help you rotate out faster. Most importantly, landing that perfect focus on her skill applies a massive 30-second team buff that changes depending on what mode you selected. In Glacio mode, she shreds enemy Glacio resistance by 8%. In Echo mode, she boosts the entire team's Echo skill damage by a flat 25%. But what if you mess up the timing? Don't worry, it's not the end of the world. A misfocus will result in less overall damage, but it refunds 50% of the skill's cooldown time and still gives you 25 traces as a consolation prize. Let's look at the rest of her kit to see how it all flows together. Starting with her basic attacks, she has a 3-hit snapshot combo that deals Glacio damage. As mentioned, hitting that 3rd stage gives you access to deploy the focus ring on hold. If you're feeling lazy, you can actually just hold the attack button down from the very first strike, and she will automatically cascade through the whole combo and deploy the ring at the end. Her resonance skill, Phantom Frame, operates on a 1/6-second cooldown. It deals Glacio damage and is your primary manual way to deploy that focus ring minigame by holding it down. Her intro skill, Clip It, deals damage when she swaps in, instantly applies a stack of Glacio Chafe to the enemy, generates 10 Concerto energy, and instantly refuels 100 of her traces. Now for her Resonance Liberation, or ultimate. This is where the damage ceiling just goes through the roof. Her ultimate is the undeniable highlight of her entire kit. Casting it deals a massive burst of damage and puts her into a highly resistant state with increased interruption resistance. She completely locks herself out of using her resonance skill during this time. Instead, she heavily buffs her own personal damage for 10 seconds based on her active stance, granting herself either a 40% basic attack damage boost in Glacio mode or a 40% Echo skill damage boost in Echo mode. Keep in mind that in Glacio mode, her ultimate damage is actually categorized as basic attack damage. During this time, her normal attacks transform into a brand new chain called tracing forms, which you can just hold down to execute. Remember those photos we were hoarding? During this ultimate state, every hit of her tracing forms consumes your stored photos to apply insane damage multipliers to the enemy. Once you hit the end of the 3-stage combo, or if you just release the button, she auto-casts a massive finishing blow. When you swap off Lucilla, her outro skill leaves behind an absolute nuke of a buff depending on her stance. In Glacio mode, enemies take a staggering 60% increased Glacio damage for 30 seconds. Yes, you read that right. 60%. That is genuinely absurd. In Echo mode, the Resonator taking her place on the field gains a 50% amplification to their Echo skill damage for 14 seconds. To tie everything together, she has a Forte circuit that manages 2 types of passive stacks based on her mode. In Glacio mode, she gets 4 base stacks of Film Roll. Whenever any of your teammates manage to apply the Glacio Chafe status to an enemy, Lucilla will automatically consume one of her Film Rolls to instantly add 2 more applications to that target. In Echo mode, she uses Zoom. You get 1 stack of this naturally, but you can build up to a maximum of 4 stacks. This stack directly buffs your active on-field Resonator by increasing their Echo skill critical damage by 10% per stack. She even has an inherent skill called Remembrance that raises the absolute maximum ceiling of these buffs, allowing her to hold up to 10 extra film rolls and raising the zoom cap by 4. Of course, we have to talk about the premium drip. Her 5-star signature rectifier is called Freeze Frame. It provides a massive 24% critical rate main stat, making her incredibly easy to build. The passive effect grants an unconditional 12% attack boost. Whenever the user applies Glacio Chafe to an enemy, the weapon grants a 40% Glacio damage bonus for 12 seconds, and it buffs the attack of every single Resonator on the team by 24% for a whopping 40 seconds. So, what does this all mean for the meta? If you are running a Glacio-centric team, she is going to be the absolute cornerstone. The synergy she has with characters like Hiyuki is undeniable. They are practically made for each other. But don't sleep on her Echo mode. As a universal buffer for Echo damage teams, she is cracked. Let's just tally up the Echo buffs she provides. A 25% Team Echo skill damage bonus from the Perfect Focus Ring. Up to 40% Echo skill critical damage for the on-field character via max zoom stacks. A 40% Echo skill damage buff to herself during her Liberation ultimate. A 50% Echo skill damage amplification passed on through her outro skill. Plus a 24% team-wide attack buff if you pull her signature weapon. It's important to remember that we are looking at early version 3.4 kit details, so all of these numbers and mechanics are completely subject to change before she actually goes live. The developers will definitely be tweaking her balance in the test servers over the next few weeks. But man, if she ships anywhere close to this state, she is going to be a must-pull for so many accounts. She is an absolute monster of a unit that provides unprecedented flexibility, whether you want to freeze the world or just nuke enemies with Echo skills. But that covers everything we currently know about Lucilla's kit. Now I want to turn it over to you guys. Who are you planning to pair her with? Are you going all in on the Hiyuki synergy, or are you scheming up some crazy Echo skill spam team? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to read your team ideas. Are you saving your pulls for her, or waiting to see what the rest of the 3.4 roster looks like? Thank you all so much for hanging out and watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.